With Hawkins split into 4 parts, it looks like the world's end. Smoke poured out of deep cracks and a fiery red color rose into the clouds, pierced by lightning and thunder. The gang looked scared and determined as they thought about what would happen next. All these signs point to Season 5 ending in a big way. In this video, we'll talk about 5 bold predictions we have for next season. First off, we had a lot of questions after the last season. Sure, Season 4 answered some essential questions about the show's mythology, but its epic finale, in which the gang got back together just in time to see the Upside Down coming into Hawkins through Vecna's 4 gates, raised many new questions. The 5th and last season's sure to be about the big obvious ones. Hawkins, can it be saved? The task seems challenging. Will 11 be able to stop Vecna for good? The show's building up to a big showdown between the two at the end. Also, can someone convince Will to get a haircut? That one's important. So we'll spend the waiting period wondering how the good guys will win. But some essential side stories need to be told. As the show heads into its last season, a few things should happen to ensure it ends well. It's time to get even bigger, whether that means character arcs finally ending or natural progressions to subplots that have been teased before. Up next, a possible love triangle? Ross Duffer said that a couple of the characters' arcs will go back to the first season and get resolved there. That includes the love triangle between Jonathan, Nancy, and Steve. As a high school outcast who didn't fit into the social order, Jonathan spent most of the first season on the sidelines. Nancy and Steve were attracted to each other but kept their distance. They didn't get together until the party where Nancy's best friend Barb bit the big one. After Steve calls Nancy a slut, Jonathan's jealousy grows and boils over, leading to a loud physical fight. Steve and Nancy don't break up until the second season. Jonathan offers to help Nancy get justice for Barb because he feels sorry for her dead friend. During the season, they get closer and spend more time together. And in the end, they start dating. Let's face it, Jonathan and Nancy are no longer together. Of course, their distance from each other could be a factor. In Season 4, they never shared a scene until the last episode. But Nancy and Steve can get together and discuss their hopes and dreams. For example, Steve wants a whole bunch of little Steve Harringtons, which he calls Lil Nuggets. From what we can tell from the Duffers teaser, they're indeed the end game, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Followed by Robin finding love. Robin's been hurt by the unrequited love for most of the time she's been on the show. As a young gay woman in nowhere, Indiana, it's not easy to decide to come out in public. During Season 3, she tells Steve that she doesn't like him, but has a secret crush on Tammy Thompson, an aspiring singer with a Muppet-like voice. Later, she looks at a girl in the high school marching band named Vicky. From the little time they spent together, we can tell they have much in common, at least in the friend zone. In Season 4, Robin's heart breaks when she finds out Vicky has a boyfriend and sees them kiss. Robin and Vicky do have a quiet moment together in the end. They make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the people of Hawkins, whose lives have been turned upside down by a so-called earthquake. Together, they're a powerful pair. They laugh and joke with each other, and it warms your heart. It's enough to suggest that Vicky might be bisexual. Is it too much to hope they'll come together in the last season? Moving on to Joyce and Hooper getting married. You can probably see a pattern in these predictions. Season 5 should be about all kinds of love, including loving yourself, loving your friends, and falling in love. That brings us to Joyce and Hooper, who got close last season. Their lives have been full of pain and heartache. That's what brought them together. Let's hope that in the next season, they can put all their problems to bed and finally be happy. This is a bold guess, but they should get married already. The season's main plot hasn't been decided yet, but for the series finale, we could build up to the wedding of the century. The Mind Flayer and Vecna will be necessary to the story, but this show needs the characters to have something genuinely hopeful to look forward to. Hooper and Joyce will get married anyway, so why not focus on that in the last season? We're talking about full episodes of PDA, planning a wedding, and everything else. Let's give these two main characters the ending they've more than earned. Next, Will might come out? Since Season 1, when Will was just a kid, the Duffer Brothers have been planting the idea that he's gay. Joyce, who's talking to Hooper, says he's a little sensitive. Later, Will gets angry about how his best friend's love lives are improving, and Mike yells at him, "It's not my fault you don't like girls." This text was written in the 1980s when there was a lot of gay panic about the AIDS epidemic, so this isn't surprising. Even Robin's afraid to share how she feels because it could make her an outcast in her small middle American town. But it's time. Will's big moment has been coming for a long time now. Hopefully he'll get a decent haircut too. During Season 4, when he talked to Mike about Elle and their rocky relationship, he almost said it. Will writes down in detail how being different can make you feel like a mistake, while he tries to hold back his tears. Mike has always been a bit dumb, so it's not surprising that he missed the signs. But someone else didn't. Jonathan, the caring older brother he is, picked up on the subtext and later talked privately with Will. He told him that nothing could make him love his little brother less. Again, it was a subtle confirmation, but LGBTQ+ fans deserve an outright confession. Not to mention Elle's big sacrifice. We learned a lot about Elle and Vecna in Season 4. They both have more power than anyone should have and are natural enemies. After the season's climatic end, it's hard to imagine what else Elle could do to stop Vecna and save humanity for good. Well, except the ultimate sacrifice, which might be the only choice left. Maybe the only way to beat Vecna is for Elle to die. That would give the last season more weight. Since the show's creators haven't killed off the main character yet, it's a possibility, but it seems unlikely. Or is it? Throughout the series, Elle wonders if she's a monster or not. From when she met her long-lost sister Kaylee to when she faced Dr. Brenner, her moral centers have never been clear. During Season 4, the Duffer Brothers made us think that Elle was responsible for the massacre at the Hawkins lab. This made us think that Elle had some uncontrollable darkness inside of her. Everything began with Elle and one, and it must end with them. Elle could take a different path by giving up her powers for good. This could give the last part of the series a good amount of emotion to end on. She gives up her powers and Vecna and everything else in Upside Down's destroyed because of it. Might just work. Finally, here are a few other bold predictions for Season 5. Many people think Eddie might come back to life as Kaz, Vecna's right-hand man in Dungeons & Dragons. In the first episode of Season 4, Eddie told the Hellfire Club while they were playing D&D that Vecna had made it. Mike thought it was Kaz who killed him. Kaz, like Eddie, died from a bat bite, but he came back as a half-vampire and helped defeat Vecna. Kaz used a sword and shield, just like Eddie did in his last moments. We're still low-key hoping this theory's true, and it sounds like a storyline that the Duffer Brothers could explore. Also, Vecna's victims might come back. Now that Stranger Things has shown that Henry Creel was able to survive, we think that other characters might be able to do the same. Vecna may keep his victims alive in some way so that they can fight against the living when he needs them to. This could make Season 5 like a zombie apocalypse, drawing ideas from classic zombie movies like Day of the Dead. Some people think that the Duffer Brothers already hinted at this by showing Barb as a rotting zombie-like creature while Vecna was torturing Nancy. It could mean that Barb will become a zombie and join Vecna's army in Season 5. And on that note, that's a wrap for this video. We'll see you in the next one.